Hello, and thank you for joining us today. As professionals working in the school system, we face incredible challenges. We are educating youth, giving them the skills they need to compete in the workplace. And somewhere in there, we want to teach them how to interact as human beings. Bullying is an issue that all schools deal with at one time or another, and LGBTQ youth often become the targets. Now, in order to create our presentation today, we interviewed teachers, staff, and students throughout Washtenaw County to find out what is happening in our schools. The scenes you will see today are drawn directly from those interviews. As you watch, think about what strategies might work best in your community. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in your school and in the lives of your students.
Before I walked into my classroom,
sat in your classroom,
I spent hours prepping,
I was called fag in the hallway,
wanting to inspire,
cyberbullied, texted homo, go home,
to help them achieve their full potential.
I had my sister tell me, you make us look bad.
I just want kids to get enough information.
The one person I told I'm gay, told the whole school.
So they can see what is going on outside of their little bubble of life.
Fought with my mom. Almost got kicked out of my house.
But I'm dealing with 30 kids at a time.
Before I sat in your classroom, ignoring your questions.
I barely have time to teach the material.
I just closed my eyes and turned off my mind.
How do I have time to teach them to be human beings?
I love school. Brilliant, engaged answer. Insightful thoughts, interesting viewpoints, great fodder for discussion. Bright student, lots of potential.
Stereotypically gay gesture.
The 2011 National School Climate Survey of LGBT students found that 64% felt unsafe in their school because of their sexual orientation.
Well, I don't want to say that I feel unsafe, but at the same time, I don't feel at home either. You know, it's not that there's anything very hostile about the school, it's just not very welcoming.
Homophobic remark.
I get called fag a lot. You know, I guess it's my mannerisms or something. You know, I just get labeled. People call me a faggot and gay and this and that, and it just isn't fun.
82% were verbally harassed in the past year because of their sexual orientation.
Trying to get back on task. Interesting subject matter. Smart teacher. Staying focused. Harvard, here I come.
Offensive story, super inappropriate remarks.
Laughing nervously. Not sure that I agree with this.
Just trying to keep my head down and act straight.
30% of these students skipped a class at least once in the past month because they felt unsafe or uncomfortable.
More hurtful remarks, scary anecdote about violence towards homosexuals.
Laughing along awkwardly. Not sure where the story is going.
They're confirming that it is a true story and the violence happened right here at our school.
38% were physically harassed, pushed or shoved.
And 18% were physically assaulted, punched, kicked, injured with a weapon in the past year because of their sexual orientation.
putting up a defense, just shutting down, closing off all social interactions.
55% of LGBT students experienced electronic harassment in the past year via text messages or postings on Facebook, often known as cyberbullying.
The high incidence of harassment and assault is amplified by school staff who rarely intervene on behalf of LGBT students.
Starting to withdraw, hoping that no one is looking at me, pretending like everything's okay.
Repeating a rumor about a girl at our school and laughing about the ick factor of sharing a locker room with someone like that.
Laughing uncomfortably, wishing she would quiet down, hoping she doesn't start bugging me.
Putting up a defense and shutting down, closing off all social interactions.
"55% of LGBT students experienced electronic harassment in the past year via text messages or postings on Facebook, often known as cyberbullying.
The high incidence of harassment and assault is amplified by school staff who rarely intervene on behalf of LGBT students.
Confirming that I'm only repeating what I heard. Homophobic slur.
Looking incredulously at the teacher, baffled that she doesn't know that this is going on, wondering if she's just pretending she can't hear.
60% of students who were harassed or assaulted in school did not report the incident to school staff, most often believing little to no action would be taken, or the situation could become worse if reported.
37% of the students who did report an incident said that school staff did nothing in response.
Shrinking into my chair, wishing I could just disappear. Distracted response, vague answer. What was the question? I'm sorry, but I have to go.
Students who experienced higher levels of victimization in school because of their sexual orientation or gender expression were 3 times as likely to have missed school in the past month because of safety concerns,
Had lower GPAs than other students.
and were more than twice as likely to report that they did not plan to pursue any post-secondary education.
I would say there's a lot more tolerance than there used to be. I think students are much more free to express themselves than maybe 10, 15 years ago. So, the same-sex marriage debate keeps coming up over and over again in current events. How do you feel about this issue? Well, let's say, for example, if someone of the same sex came up to you and asked you to dance at prom, what would you do? What would your reaction be?
But I don't.
I think maybe I'd.
So the gym looks awesome. Kinda. You look great. Thanks. You too. I'm gonna go get something to drink. Do you want something? Sure. Okay.
Is he your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Is he
your boyfriend?
Yes.
Nice.
Maybe I'd go, just go and dance with them.
Like, say, I'd love to, but I'm not gay.
Just go and have fun. Do it from a friend perspective instead of a romantic perspective.
Really warms my heart to hear that. Because when I asked that same question 10 years ago, the other students said that they would physically abuse the other.
Okay. You know, that might seem all nice and sweet, but it doesn't always turn out so great. You know, I was just hanging out in one of my favorite teacher's classrooms with one other gay student, and we were like watching a video.
A musical.
And this kid comes in, and he starts making all these comments about
Gay people, it's a sin.
You're all gonna burn in hell.
and stuff like that, and it was just horrible and uncomfortable.
We were just trying to, chill out and find our own space and just, get away from anybody we didn't like.
And to have someone just come into that, it was just awful, and I hated it.
Students need to be more aware of what it's like. This is what it means to be bullied.
Well, I can see why a lot of kids choose to wait to choose to come out until after high school. I knew a guy once, and he came out, and he was almost kicked off the swim team. But the principal thought he was being accepting by not kicking him off the swim team. Yeah, he thought it was some righteous thing to do. So yeah, there's definitely some hostility amongst the students and the faculty.
There are all those teachers who, if they heard a kid say gay or faggot, just sort of let it fly. They didn't really care.
Yes, because when I hear that, it's like the teachers were saying they're right. Basically, these kids should be making fun of you. You're not worth our time or whatever.
It's at times like these, the little things that remind me how vigilant I need to be. And then I wonder who I've missed. How many people have I missed? I always think, oh, I finally arrived, and then...
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Gently
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, life is but a dream.
That's so gay.
Everyone calls people gay. Everyone calls people faggots. It's just seen as... It's just a common insult. No one really takes it seriously.
Hey, how are you doing?
Fine, how about you?
Fine, just fine.
You're such a dyke.
It's not like they're saying horrible things.
No, of course not.
They're just in their everyday language talking about it being bad.
Absolutely, it doesn't bother me at all.
Are you two, friends, or are you two, lesbians?
When I was younger, back in middle school, I got called lesbian a lot. And it was pretty awful. But I just got over it because it was one out of a billion different insults.
It doesn't really impact me.
Hey, how are you doing?
Fine, how about you?
Fine, just fine.
I'm fine too.
Yes, we're all fine.
Fine.
Completely fine.
Excuse me, do you need some help?
No, we're fine.
Just fine. Everything's fine.
Are you sure?
Yes, there's no problem here.
We're just fine. Everything's fine.
That's so gay.
Stop acting like such a fag.
I think she's a lesbian.
Please, can I help you?
No, we're fine.
Fine. Fine.
Please, let me help you.
No, there's nothing wrong here.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
We're fine.
I mean, I know that they're talking about it, but they never bring it up to my face, so, I mean, I know what's going on, but it doesn't really faze me.
It doesn't faze me at all.
I mean, it's not horrible bullying.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's just... I mean, things aren't really... I mean, it's just words. There's hardly anything physical going on.
Like I said, there's never, ever anything... never anything really hostile about it.
But don't you realize you're drowning?
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
There's nothing
I'm totally
wrong
fine.
here.
I'm under
I'm
control.
okay by
I'm fine.
myself. I can do it.
No!
I'm fine.
I'm not fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I can do it.
Everything's
Got it.
good. I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's
I'm
fine.
fine! I didn't really get bullied in high school because I wasn't really out to people.
I wasn't out in high school until my senior year.
I went to a fairly conservative high school.
It wasn't something that was necessarily talked about.
The teachers never really did talk about it.
They stuck to the coursework.
I think some teachers don't openly support it in the classroom. Like, I don't want to have to deal with the parents emailing me about talking about how being gay is okay or great or that there's nothing wrong with it. So they don't necessarily address it in the classroom. But if we're not talking about how famous people or historians or famous people in history were gay, then we're not normalizing it. We're not saying, hey, this is a completely normal thing to be going through. I think we're doing a disservice to kids, to their education.
This is a very touchy subject in public schools. Unfortunately, I think the hardest part is dealing with other adults. It is very uncommon that you'll find an entire staff of teachers on the same page for various reasons.
Well, the thing that I have come across more often than not are religious views surrounding the topic.
This is a very touchy subject.
We've had staff meetings where we've talked just about bullying in general, whether it's to LGBT students or whatever the issue is. And some teachers have voiced the opinion that we still need to be aware of other people's religious beliefs and honor them as well, and not forget that there are students here who have those beliefs also. And I don't want to discredit students' sincerely held religious beliefs and convictions, but that doesn't mean that they're better than someone else. And it doesn't give you the right to treat other people poorly.
I think some teachers are less prone to act on something they see or hear in school. I find that male teachers will turn a blind eye more quickly, while female teachers are more responsive. There is definitely a boys will be boys mentality still that I see a lot.
I think some people are just so afraid of saying the wrong thing that they don't say anything.
The cafeteria, that would have to be the worst place.
And it's like, there's only so many times you can just get up and walk away from the lunch table.
You just get so tired of it.
You just hate the fights.
So you just end up like...
Saying nothing.
We do have a bullying policy, but I don't really see it being enforced.
Well, there is legislation now protecting all students from bullying. It's the law.
But from what I've seen here, it has to be pretty extreme before it's enforced. Like, you have to beat someone up before anything happens. They can go around and call kids names, even racial and sexual slurs, and nothing really happens. There needs to be more of a physical altercation before kids get in trouble.
I wasn't actively, like, bullied or anything, but Honestly, the most painful thing in my high school experience would probably have to be the fact that I was constantly erased. I was constantly invisible. I felt like I didn't exist. I felt like no one saw who I really was. I felt like I didn't have an identity. Like if a health class would actually bring up the topic of gay people, the topic of trans people, and say there's like more than one way to exist. There's more than one way to have a gender or like to be attracted to people. And they wouldn't just whitewash and pretend that we don't exist. It was just so dehumanizing. And I really feel like schools should be safe.
And of course, there's all that stuff you hear all the time in the hallways.
That's so gay.
He's so gay.
That shirt is so gay.
This homework is so gay.
Really? Can you not find another piece of vocabulary to use?
I don't want to show my students that I'm angry, but if you show them that you're really offended by something, they really do stop and think about it. Like, when I have a student that says, "That's so gay," I will say to them, "That is unacceptable. Do not ever say that again in my presence."
That really bothers you?
Yes, it really bothers me. Think about it. Think about what you're saying. Whether she actually took it to heart, I don't know, but at least she knows better than to say in front of me now.
Yeah. Well, I will actually walk right up to them and ask, what does that mean? I'll ask them to define it. What does it mean to say that this kid is gay? I did this one time, and the kids, they just didn't want to have anything to do with him. What are you thinking? I really am curious. It got to the point where the other kids were just staring at him, and the peer pressure just got to him. Now, I don't know if he changed his thinking, but I've seen him a number of times, and I have not heard him make that comment again.
Well, I like to tell them, when you use words like that, you're using it in a way to mean stupid. And then I say, what if I were to say, "That's so redhead"? And it was a red-haired kid, and they'd say,
Oh, I wouldn't care.
"Really? So what if I used a word that you really found offensive toward you personally, and used it in a way to mean stupid?" There are a couple of words I will not tolerate, gay being one, and the N-word another.
I have called home and talked to parents as well, so that they know this is unacceptable and that it isn't going to happen in my class. And I've had parents who have said,
Well, this isn't something I'm going to deal with.
and I've been pretty diplomatic, and I've said, I understand and respect your opinion. However, when your child is in my class, this isn't going to happen. And so long as your student continues to behave this way, I'm going to ask them to leave every time. And when it comes down to their grades, parents are usually like,
Just go in and don't do anything in her classroom.
I wish that I could change your mind, but as long as you're coming into my space and being polite and respectful, that's what I'm asking.
My role, first of all, is to create a safe classroom for them, because I have control over my space. While you're in my classroom, it's going to be safe.
My theater teacher and my choir director. I went and talked to them all the time and felt like I could really open up.
The place I did feel comfortable sitting with my girlfriend would probably have to be the music hall.
There was one class that I felt really open in. It was my yearbook class.
I remember this one class. We did a debate about marriage equality. I didn't say anything.
Theater was always my home.
The choir room was always my home.
My French classroom.
Culinary arts.
I didn't have to worry about, trying to be anything.
I could walk into the auditorium, and if my boyfriend was sitting there, I could walk in, drop my stuff, and give him a big kiss. And everyone would go, "Aww."
I think my first priority toward the LGBT community is to make sure that they can get to their next class without being beaten up. Now, I don't know if that happens a whole lot in our school. I would hope that our kids are more evolved than that. Unfortunately, they're not always.
It's more subversive, under the table. They'll throw in a snide comment or a negative note in their locker.
And especially with Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, cyberbullying is huge, and I think that happens more than being physically assaulted. And, well, I like to think that I'm the teacher that the kids know they can come and talk to. Like, if they're not getting any other emotional support, I try to be that emotional support.
There was one teacher who was a mom of a girl I played basketball with. She would always check in on me and make sure I was doing okay.
Which was amazing.
I had this one really cool teacher who slammed a guy into a locker once for making fun of me. That made me feel pretty good.
The biggest thing was my theater director. I was going through a breakup, and he was very supportive.
Just let me know if you need to talk or anything.
For a teacher to say, like,
If anybody's getting any crap for being gay,
for being bisexual,
For being trans.
Whatever.
just come to me and we'll talk about it.
Or the teachers who would tell students like,
You can't. These things are not good to say.
How can a test be gay? How can a piece of clothing be gay? That usually stops them and makes them think.
You cannot make comments like that in my classroom. That stuff will not fly.
You cannot use that word in my classroom. You can't say these things. It's unacceptable.
The teachers are supposed to stand in the hallway during passing time, and a lot of teachers do, but the other side of it is that sometimes that 10 minutes is all the teachers have to talk to their students one-on-one.
You're missing this work.
How can I help you?
Oh, can we set up another time to get together and meet about this? Please,
Kids
I don't have
ask
time.
questions after class, so teachers aren't always able to be in the hallways. Through no fault of their own. It's not that they don't want to be out there.
I don't always get out into the hallway during passing time.
It's really hard because you'll have kids yelling, hey!
Hey!
Or they'll be trying to carry on a conversation with you as you're going down the hallway, and I'm sure there are things that happen that I don't see.
I don't think a school could be totally safe, though.
There's just bullying in so many different forms.
the concept of a safe school is really great. I just don't know if it can ever be completely reached.
It is without fail that on the day we need to prep the MME, I have to finish these student evaluations, post grades in Power School, create rubrics for an assignment on Camus' The Stranger, The Warrior Woman, and Things Fall Apart, look at the new ELA standards, defend myself to the PTA about why I'm teaching Beloved, come early to school to advise the student government, stay late to advise the Poetry Society, study for the first exam in the first course for my master's in curriculum. When a good student comes up to me and says,
Mr. Wright, I know it's halfway through the semester, but I have to switch out of your class.
because I have really strong
Feelings for this girl. And, well, I'm a girl. And I feel, well, I know that it will be hard for me to listen and to learn here.
Here is not where I have time to deal with life beyond the room. I am empathetic to the struggles our students have. I know how hard it is to be in one place when so much of our worlds are in other places. I do. But I am here for the mind, not the body. That is someone else's job, not mine. Oh, and it's not about the money. It's about the purpose of this vocation. This life I have chosen. I mean, this teaching life already consumes my dreams, my conversations, my connections. Sometimes there isn't any more space to help others find their place. Ask me about why No Name Woman has no name, or how Achebe shows the impact of colonialism on Igbo tribes, or why Camus writes, "Why does one need to die to reflect on life?" But love and lust or identity beyond books, that's not my expertise. It's in the humans of fiction, not the humans of here. I am sympathetic, but not skilled on the impact of divorced parents or homelessness or body image, sexuality, being gay, gay-like, gay-friendly or fluid, or in love and relationships that live, well, that live beyond the pages of Austen and Bronte.
The human heart has hidden treasures, in secret kept, in silence sealed.
The classroom is already standing room only. It doesn't have room for our lives beyond.
The hopes, the thoughts, the dreams, the pleasures, whose charms were broken, if revealed.
That's what the hallway is for.
When we left our hero, she was struggling to make a difference in her school. She ventured across the straits of indifference, navigated the tides of mixed messages, and had been captured by the tape of bureaucracy.
Help! Somebody please! Anybody help us!
I'm trying! I'm trying!
The principal keeps pretending that we don't exist, and that we are not gay, and that we don't have any issues.
I know, I'm doing my best.
The other teachers keep turning a blind eye. We need you.
Oh, but I started the Don't Say Gay campaign, and it worked.
That's so gay. So
Super
gay.
It's
Super
back!
No one's doing anything about it. I'm being oppressed right now.
You are using the right pronoun for me.
Oh, I'm trying, but I don't even know what gender fluid means.
I was in the locker room, and everyone was making fun of me. They kept rat-tailing me while I was trying to put my pants on. It was awful. And of course, there was never a teacher around to do anything about
There
it.
was never a teacher who would do anything about it.
Oh, but you never told me that. You never came to me. I didn't know.
Excuses, excuses.
You're the teacher. Fix it.
Fix it.
But when I heard all those rumors about you, when the other girls were being so cruel, I brought you into my office to talk. I just wanted to help. I tried to reach out.
You tried to reach out.
She reached out. Very supportive.
Very concerned. That's all I ever wanted. Someone who was concerned.
Oh, but you looked at me like I was crazy, like I was insane. You said everything was fine.
I just couldn't. I couldn't talk about it then.
Then what am I supposed to do?
Help me! Don't you see what's going on? I can't even walk to my next class safely.
Okay, well, what about the GSA? They could walk with you and watch your back and make sure you get to and from classes safely.
Yes, I think it's working.
Okay, well, what else can I do?
You could.
Cool.
I could hint.
Hint.
I could say that
Say.
this is a completely judgment-free zone. And that I'm open to listening. And that I'm here to help.
As my teacher.
As my mentor.
As a person.
To give you advice.
If we need it.
And thus concludes another day in our hero's life. Tune in tomorrow when she battles broken copy machines, fire drills, and parent-teacher conferences.
Okay.
They call me old school. Old school. I don't feel old. I like to think that I don't look old. But some see my ideas as old. I don't text. I'm not on Twitter. Facebook stresses me out. And Tumblr sounds painful. I still do presentations on an overhead projector. And I call my students by their last names. Mr. Jones? Does that make me old school? Maybe. But you would be mistaken if you assumed I was out of touch. I get what goes on here in my classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria. I see what happens when one of my students is beaten down, emotionally, physically. I get that there are these intricate dances around race, gender, and sexual orientation that are happening all the time. I get that students can be really mean. I understand what that does to a person. I hear about the new terminology, the new movements. I hear kids tell me that in order to be a supportive, I need to start calling them queer. Queer. In my day, queer was a disrespectful term. In my day, queer was usually followed by someone being slammed against a locker. Queer meant weird, odd, wrong. So I don't use the right lingo. Maybe that's me being old school. But you know what else is old school? Respect. My respect for you being who you are despite tremendous pressure to do just the opposite. My respect for you to be able to learn, to succeed, to thrive. Honor is old school. Justice is old school. I don't have to wear the rainbow to understand how much it means to you because teaching can be old school. The love of teaching, the joy of teaching. Teaching you about others who wore rainbows and patches and scarves and carried signs and stood their ground for what they believed in. Old school is showing up for each other, putting in the work for each other. I may not be running the club, but I'm here, always here, door open. No matter what my overhead projector says about me, I will give everyone the same chance to succeed, no matter what. This isn't about being political. It's just simple. Equality is simple. Safety is simple. It's old school.
To me, a safe place for LGBT youth and other teens means feeling like you have a purpose in life and your school is helping you figure that out.
A safe school is a place where kids have a safe place to learn to express themselves.
Not be hurt, not be bullied.
And they can maximize their education as well as their social being.
Socially and academically.
A safe school, a safe space, is any place where we don't work to cover up truths, but better yet, work to address them. Our silence doesn't protect us.
They don't have to worry about being verbally harassed.
Or being physically harassed.
They can maximize their education as well as their social being.
That's
our goal
here.
Maybe where everyone has the same goal to succeed.
All right. Oh, yes. Be careful.
There we go. Just like this.
Nice.
And what you do, what you look like, won't change that commonality we have with one another.
A place where you can come and be who you are and not have to worry about.
Oh, I'm not wearing the same cool clothes as that person is.
My bag didn't cost as much as her bag.
I'm gay, and I'm afraid kids are gonna pick on me.
Here's what it's not. A cover-up. A don't ask, don't tell, keep it quiet, where sexuality is a private and not a public matter, and it's pushed into the closet.
If you want to feel safe in school, in society, if you want to be safe, then you have to be able to speak out and question everything.
I'll get this one down here.
Yeah.
There.
There's a safe
Very small.
Right. A non-exclusion zone. It could be a space or a place or events where you can go and just self-identify.
Or stand up, where teachers wouldn't be in fear of losing their jobs if they stand up to others who speak through fear and hate.
Knowledge is safety. I mean, there's history here. Sappho, Stonewall, Society 5, Harvey Milk.
Yeah.
History humanizes us.
We can initiate some kind of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer support system. Even if it's just one teacher who at the beginning of the year puts up a flyer.
I'm here to talk or listen if you need someone.
A place where you can come and feel safe, feel accepted.
You're different than me? That's awesome.
Who am I? Really? I need to figure this out for myself.
You're gay? Awesome.
I'm sorry that your parents are going through a divorce.
I'm sorry that your family's having money problems.
Or whatever the situation is, and be able to talk about it and have it be safe.
I'm here to talk or listen if you need someone.
I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Before I
walked into my classroom,
walked into your classroom,
I took a moment to stop,
think.
reflect
I saw the world
through your eyes.
through your experiences.
I asked questions.
I listened.
I took a chance.
I stood up for a friend.
I made things better for all of us.